Tonight on Y News. Over 500 cops deployed in the New Bilibid prison to assist in the conduct of special operations inside the detention facility. Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso vows to continue the clearing of city roads beyond DILG's 60-day deadline. And the Light Rail Transit Authority, or LRTA, is eyeing partial operations of LRT this week. Good evening. The Department of Justice will reopen the case of the Ninja Cops. This is amid the investigation of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee on the alleged recycling of drugs done by some rogue cops. Nel Marie Buhok tells us why. The Senate sees negligence in the part of the Philippine National Police Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde in connection with the 2013 Agaw Bato scheme that involved some of his former officers. According to Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chairman Richard Gordon, they will invite new personalities to the next hearing to give a clearer picture of what transpired during the drug operation in Pampanga 6 years ago. The senator said there are a lot of questions that Albayalde should answer in the next hearing. For PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde, the Ninja Cops controversy could be his enemy's way for him not to make any recommendations for his successor. He also wants the Senate executive session of Ninja Cops be made public. April Senadoza reports why.
Whoever I will recommend now, it will be a kiss of death. Diba? Diba? Dahil alam nila, the President will ask at least a sitting Chief PNP 1 or 2 weeks before.
Though he has only 1 month left before retiring, controversies continue to hound the chief of the country's police force. One of which is the Ninja Cops issue. The country's top cop admits the timing is critical for him to give recommendations to the president. To determine the motive of the allegations, the PNP chief wants the Senate's executive session on the issue, where he was tagged as one of the involved in the Agaw Bato scheme be made public.
Ilabas natin yun, then makikita natin talaga kung ano ang pinag-umpisahan nito.
Albayalde has even directed the PNP Directorate for Investigation and Detective Management to lead the review of the administrative cases against 13 Pampanga cops placed in floating status. This aims to initiate possible summary dismissal proceedings against erring cops. April Senadoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Calamba, Laguna.
Malacañang agrees with a lifestyle check on personnel and officials of the Philippine National Police. The PNP Internal Affairs could do the lifestyle check, according to Presidential Spokesperson Secretary Salvador Panelo. Rosalie Cos reports why.
Malacañang believes a lifestyle check on the police force will help resolve the corruption and irregularities in the institution. It was Senator Richard Gordon who proposed to do a lifestyle check on the 13 cops involved in the questionable buy-bust operation in Pampanga in 2013, as well as on PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde. Senator Gordon chairs the Senate Blue Ribbon and Justice Committees, which investigate the controversy surrounding the Good Conduct Time Allowance Law and the alleged drug recycling of the so-called Ninja Cops. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo agrees with the proposal.
That's a very good idea. There should be lifestyle check internally among PNP, and for that matter, all heads of departments should conduct it on their own.
Secretary Panelo adds, as for the police colonels involved in the illegal drug trade, it is up to President Duterte if he would publicize their names. The chief executive has clarified he was pertaining to colonels and not to police generals involved in the drug trade. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
National Capital Region Police Office Chief Police Major General Guillermo Eliazar conducted an inspection in the New Bilibid prison where one of his men are currently assigned. Over 500 NCRPO personnel assisted in Bilibid until the Bureau of Corrections can find their own trusted personnel. Leah Ilagan tells us why.
NCRPO Chief Police Major General Guillermo Eleazar today visited his men who serve as a strike force in the New Bilibid prison. He conducted an inspection to ascertain they are performing their duties properly.
Nakita natin na from the entrance gate, pati sa loob, at pagpunta na rin sa mga tinatawag nating mga observation posts doon sa catwalks na naikot natin doon, mga NCRPO personnel na ang naandun na siyang tumutulong sa Bureau of Correction. Dapat mga ito hindi kumbaga matempt din sa mga naging problema nung dati dito sa Bureau of Corrections.
Bureau of Corrections Director General Gerald Bantag said the relieved Bucor officers are now undergoing retraining.
Magre-recruit tayo, yung hiring tayo. Siyempre yan, ini-evaluate nga sila. Kung sinong pwedeng nang ibalik, ibabalik.
The AFP Joint Task Force NCR and PIDEA, who are members of the Quad Intel Force, are ready to help the Bucor Director General in enforcing the reform in the Bureau.
Kung ano yung suportang kailangan sa amin, from Intel to Intel gathering information, sharing information, up to K9, bubuhos po kami dyan.
We will always be providing support to NCRPO, intelligence gathering, and then if you need some sort of manpower, magre-remedyo ang Task Force NCR para masuportahan itong gawain ng ating ahensya.
Last Friday, the NCRPO deployed 551 personnel to the NBP. 3 of them are officers with a rank of police captain, while the remaining 548 are all police non-commissioned officers. Such deployment comes after Bantag sought help in implementing security measures amid the reform in Bucor. Leah Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Muntinlupa City.
The Philippine National Police will now leave the National Police Training Institute, or NPTI, after the ceremonial turnover held at Camp Vicente Lim today. The PNP is now solely responsible for the making of a complete police officer from recruitment to retirement, according to the PNP Chief. April Senadoza tells us why.
The NPTI used to be supervised by the Philippine Public Safety College. But with today's turnover ceremony, PNP Chief Police General Oscar Albayalde says the police force will now be accountable for the entire range of responsibility, from recruitment, education, field training, and deployment of cops. President Rodrigo Duterte signed Republic Act 11-27-9, or the transfer of the PNP Academy and NPTI to PNP to beef up internal cleansing efforts. The PNP chief affirmed Senator Panfilo Ping Lacson, the principal author of the law. He said the measure is an added tool to build a physically and morally competent police force. The country's top cop says this training capacity will allow the PNP to cope with the annual NAPOLCOM authorized quota of 10,000 recruits into the police force to replenish the ranks of personnel separated due to retirement and attrition. April Senadoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Calamba, Laguna.
The first round eliminations of the Season 8 of the League of Public Servant continues. The UNTV Cup crowd witnessed another triple-header with the defending champion AFP Cavaliers rookie team, DENR Warriors, and the DA Food Masters claiming another win. Bernard Dadis will tell us why.
Another loss. Pass.
The AFP Cavaliers record remained unchanged after beating SSS Kabalikat 186. It's the Soldiers' third win in a row, while Kabalikat stays winless after 4 games days in UNTV Cup Season 8. Alvin Zuniga and Winston Sergio made a combined 35 points. while Wilfred Casulia and Ese Resopa grabbed 23 boards combined. The 41 points and 17 rebounds made by Cabalicat's Carlito Quiambao, the combined points of Francisco Sarmiento and John Paul Roman were not enough to surpass the AFP's performance. In another action-packed battle, rookie team DNR Warriors defeated Season 5 Jam PNP Responders 88-77. DNRs now tied with Malacañang PSC Camao on the top spot of Group B, 2 wins and 0 loss. DNR's Melvin Banagal and Rob Lansang scored 21 points each. While Paul Erwin Pareño, Desiderio Aison Jr. and Ed Rivera made combined 34 points. On the PNP side, Olan Umiping scored 20 and Anton Tolentino 14. Meanwhile, the Agriculture Food Masters had the taste of their second win. This after toppling PITC Global Traders 68-64. The Food Masters hold a 2-0 win-loss record, while PITC has 1 win and 2 losses. Bernard Daddy's UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up to where Angelo Castro III left off. I'm Alex Baltazar. Here are the headlines. President Rodrigo Duterte is still the most trusted official in the Philippine government despite a dip in his approval and trust ratings in the latest Pulse Asia survey. President Rodrigo Duterte reassures public school teachers their awaited pay increase will be given this year. The Light Rail Transit Authority, or LRTA, is eyeing partial operations of LRT2 tomorrow. Oil firms to slash pump prices and new this week. And Palauan and Cebu rank among top best islands of the world. Good evening. President Rodrigo Duterte's trust and approval ratings went down in September, according to the latest Pulse Asia survey. But the survey results do not bother Malacañang. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
The trust ratings of President Rodrigo Duterte fell to 74% in September. This is 11 points lower than the 85% in the second quarter of the year, while the president's approval rating is 7% lower than the 85% rating in June based on the Pulse Asia survey. The latest survey was conducted on September 16 to 22 amid Senate's probe on allegations of corruption against the New Bilibid prison and the Philippine National Police. Malacañang, however, is unfazed by the survey result. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo says the ratings are changing, but still the president's trust and approval ratings are high.
Oh, the rating is still high. It's more than 70%. Surveys fluctuate depending on when they get them. If it is taken at the time when there are controversies hounding, it may affect the survey.
The trust and approval ratings of Vice President Leni Robredo and Senate President Tito Soto also went down, while the approval rating of Supreme Court Chief Justice Lucas Bersamin quite increased. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
The House Makabayan bloc believes the drop in the trust rating of the president is due to the high price of commodities and the president's acts that seem to favor China. Vincent Arboleda will tell us why.
According to Makabayan bloc lawmakers, the drop in the president's trust ratings is bound to happen. This is due to the effect of the train law on the prices of goods and the impact of the rice tariffication law on local farmers. To add to that is the effect of the African swine fever on the hog industry, the worsening traffic situation in Metro Manila, and China's continuous trampling to our country's sovereignty, they say. Issues on the GCTA, ninja cops, and corruption involving high-ranking government officials have also affected the president's ratings. According to Bayan Muna Representative Carlos Zarate, in case these problems are not resolved, the president's trust rating may decrease further. Despite these, the president remains to have the highest approval and trust ratings among the country's public officials based on the Pulse Asia survey. Vincent Arboleda, UNTV News and Rescue, Caloocan City.
After thorough test runs and safety checks on the telecommunications system, the Light Rail Transit Authority will resume operations of LRT Line 2 partially tomorrow. Trips will only be from Cubao to Recto stations and vice versa. Joan Nano tells us why.
Earlier today, many passengers found it hard to commute due to the closure of the LRT2. The Land Transportation, Franchising and Regulatory Board or LTFRB granted several buses and water jeepneys special permit as augmentation to transport stranded passengers. Even the MMDA and the Philippine Coast Guard provided free rides. Despite these measures, passengers complained it was hard for them to commute.
Ito lang po yung only transport ko papuntang Mandaluyong na yung pinaka-fastest kasi other routes are more compressed other than sa LRT. Kaya sobrang hassle mo talaga.
It's really hard for me kasi may hinahabol akong time eh. My class starts at 7. Siguro for now, leave very early. I think around 3. So para lang makahabol ako sa class.
Sobrang hirap. Nakakapagod, nakaka-stress. Tanghali na kami. Katulad niyan, yung mga yung mga jeep, ayaw naman nila dumiretso ng Cubao.
After the resumption of partial operations, the LRTA will work on fixing problems in Anonas Station. Santolan and Katipunan stations, however, will be shut down for around 9 months because spare parts needed for the reparation must be imported from the United Kingdom, France, and Japan.
Because these are not off-the-shelf items, they have to be manufactured, if not customized to our system, and then we have the shipment process that would take time. And then finally, the commissioning process, meaning the moment you install them and then you switch them on, you still need to fine-tune everything.
Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasig City.
Local pump prices are expected to go down again this week. In separate advisories, oil companies including Chevron, Philippines or Caltex, Filipinas Shell Petroleum, Phoenix Petroleum and Sea Oil have announced reduction in the price per liter of gasoline by 80 centavos per liter, diesel by 1 peso per liter, and kerosene by 1 peso and 15 centavos per liter. The price adjustment will take effect at 6 a.m. on October 8, Tuesday. Clean Fuel has earlier announced similar price cut which took effect yesterday. This is the second consecutive week of fuel price rollbacks. President Rodrigo Duterte has not given a timeline yet, but public school teachers across the Philippines may expect higher wages this year. Janice Anyente details why.
President Rodrigo Duterte assures public school teachers their salaries may increase this year. The chief executive stated this in a speech before members of the media when he arrived in Davao City from a 5-day visit in Russia.
Hindi double, but mas marami ang teachers, my God. Pero nandyan po, dadating yan this year.
The president refused, however, to give an exact date when the increase will happen.
You know, government is such a very complex animal. And you cannot just, if I give you the timeline, tapos I could not make it on the deadline, I have to explain more than what is expected of government. Mas mabutit na lang yan kung nandyan na, sinasabi ko, nandyan na yan.
Janice Anyente, UNTV, News and Rescue, Davao City.
Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso will soon impose a total ban on the sale of secondhand cell phones in Manila City. He also warns to shut down malls that will continue harboring tenants who sell stolen mobile phones. Harleen Delgado clarifies why.
This dashcam video was taken by a netizen showing a number of men hovering around a truck on Road 10 Tondo, Manila. Later, one of them opened the truck door while another grabbed something inside, which was said to be the truck driver's cell phone. One of the suspects was presented earlier by Mayor Isko Moreno Domagoso. The suspect was identified as Christopher Dumapi, aka Topher, who still has a standing warrant of arrest for a robbery case. The suspect admitted his commission of the crime and his use of drugs. Some of the suspects were also nabbed that afternoon. Because of this and the recent incidents of robbery, Mayor Domagoso announced that the city will soon prohibit the sale of secondhand cell phone in Manila. The mayor cited a student in Moraita whose cell phone has recently been snatched. The victim's cell phone was later located in a mall in Recto.
Alam mo sabi sa kanya, ng mall, huwag ka na mag-complain kasi nabalik naman na yung cellphone mo eh. Imbis na ipasara yung umuupa sa kanya, dahil may direktiba ng siyudad ng Maynila, hindi. Ano pa eh, kinakalo.
The UNTV News and Rescue team is still trying to get the mall's statement on the allegation. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
President Rodrigo Duterte returns from Russia after a successful 5-day official visit. Some business agreements were signed between the two governments, including the supply of Filipino companies of their food products to the Russian market. Rosalie Cos has the details.
Around 620 million pesos worth of business deals were signed between the Philippines and Russia during the official visit of President Rodrigo Duterte to Moscow and Sochi last week. Aside from this, 2 Filipino fishing companies will export their tuna products to Russia. President Duterte also became the first Philippine president to be conferred with an honorary doctorate degree by the leading institution for diplomats in Russia. Bilateral cooperation agreements were also signed by the two countries.
This visit generated greater momentum for the Philippine-Russia relations. There is a key element of our trust to rebalance Philippine foreign policy towards independence, balance, and diplomatic agility. The gains we have made in this visit brings us a step closer to our objective of a stable, comfortable, and a secure life for all Filipinos. That is my vision for and the burden duty to the nation, and I will do everything to achieve that towards that end.
The president, meanwhile, clarified among the signed business agreements is the memorandum of intent to jointly explore the prospects of cooperation in the construction of nuclear power plants in the Philippines, which is not yet final and is just a proposal. This will still be discussed in a cabinet meeting. The president even said the Constitution prohibits it.
It is an ongoing thing. If I need the consent of Congress, that is why I said I have to consult the cabinet and the Secretary of Justice. Because if there is something in that agreement that would require the consent of Congress, then you have to go to Congress and argue your case before that body. It was just broad outlines, nothing specific yet.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
Out of the many islands in the world, Palauan lands top 2 among the 50 best islands, according to Big 7 Travel, while the island of Cebu lands in the 25th place. Monukson details why.
Big 7 Travel is an online food, hotel, and travel content creator. According to the website, of the 50 islands in the world that millennials must visit in 2020, Palauan lands top 2. The top 50 islands were selected through the votes of Big 7 Travel readers. Voters said that Palauan is one of the best islands to visit because of its 45 cluster island and the popular secret lagoon. Big 7 Travel describes Palauan as having crystal clear water and soft sands. Palauan is known for its sandy white beaches and tropical jungles. Last September, Palauan was included in CNN Travel's 10 of the world's most beautiful islands. On the other hand, Cebu lands 25th on Big 7 Travel's list of best islands in the world. Cebu's beaches are characterized as sugar white beaches with clear emerald waters. The website recommends to its readers to visit Oslob in Cebu to experience swimming with whale sharks. The top spot goes to Flatey Island in Iceland because of its calmness that give an extraordinary experience to tourists. Big 7 Travel's top 50 best islands in the world also include Rawa Island in Malaysia, Koh Tao in Thailand, Capri Island in Italy, Bali in Indonesia, Ibiza in Spain, Santorini in Greece, and the Maldives. For a complete list of the top 50 best islands in the world, visit Big 7 Travel's website. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
Welcome back to Y News. The Department of Health, or DOH, in the Calabarzon region intensify its measures against the spread of meningococcemia. This after another death from the disease has been recorded recently. Sherwin Kulubong has more details.
The Department of Health Calabarzon is now focused in searching for those who came in contact with a 4-month-old baby that died from meningococcemia in Tubi, Batangas. Dr. Eduardo Hanairo, the DOH Region 4A Director, said it is important to find them so they can take antibiotics called prophylaxis to prevent the disease from spreading.
Pagka ikaw nabugahan niya, may resistensya mo, may sakit ka, at kaya naubuhan ka o nahipo may laway na nailagay mo sa ilong mo, madali kang nahawa.
The baby was admitted in Asugbo Hospital on October 3. The next morning, he was transferred to San Lazaro Hospital and passed away.
Kasi yung bata raw, nag-stay sa Tuwi bago na hospitalized. After na-stop na ako, mga task force ngayon, nagpunta na ng Batangas para sabay-sabay hanapin pa yung iba na may contact yung mga pasyente. Pero nakapokus sila sa Tuwi ngayon.
A woman aged 53 from Tanawan, Batangas was the first meningococcemia patient in the province who died on September 22. The next patients were a 1-year-old baby from Lian and a 2-year-old girl in Asugbo, Batangas.
Kahit anong age, no, pwede. Pero yung mahihina resistensya, hindi nakapaghuhugas ng kamay, at yung mga bagsak ang pangangatawan, no? Yan ang madaling makapitan yan.
The DOH clarifies that meningococcemia caused by the Neisseria meningitis bacteria can spread through direct contact with discharges from the nose and throat. Residents are advised to clean their surroundings and maintain proper hygiene to protect oneself from any disease.
Panatiling malinis yung bata, palagi magugas ng kamay, at saka huwag magpunta sa mga maruruming lugar, at saka patingin po agad sa doktor.
Although the disease is not highly contagious, the DOH warns that meningococcal meningitis can kill in a matter of hours. Sherwin Kulubong, UNTV News and Rescue, Batangas.
President Rodrigo Duterte says he may attend the enthronement ceremony of new Japanese Emperor Naruhito in Japan this month. He is one of the representatives from around 200 countries and international organizations expected to witness the enthronement. Janice Inyenta tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte is visiting Japan for the enthronement ceremony of Japan's new Emperor Naruhito this month despite his busy schedule. Speaking to reporters in Davao City upon his arrival from his second official Russia visit last week, President Duterte described Japan as one of the countries that provide assistance to the Philippines.
You know, Japan has, one of the countries na talagang tumutulong sa atin. Nauna pa. And just my personal feeling, my sentiment that I should be there. Even just for half a day or... But it's very lean.
President Duterte added he won't be accompanied by a large delegation.
No, total, ako lang rin siguro iniimbita. Hindi na magdala ng maraming tao. There's nothing to discuss there except to be a witness to the enthronement of the new emperor.
On October 22, Emperor Naruhito will replace his father, Emperor Emeritus Akihito, who abdicated last April 30 after 30 years on the chrysanthemum throne. He is the first Japanese emperor to do so since 1817. Janice Engente, UNTV, News and Rescue, Davao City.
Clearing operations in Manila will continue whatever the result of DILG's audit is, says Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso. Meanwhile, the Manila City Mayor will recommend the DILG to file raps against a barangay chairman. Harleen Delgado tells us why.
Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso assures clearing operations in the city will continue even after the DILG's 60-day clearing order ends.
Whether bagsak tayo, pasado tayo, immaterial yun. Hinihikayat ko kayo, tuloy-tuloy ang paglilinis, pagsasaayos at pagbabalik ng kalye sa taong bayan.
Last Saturday, at least 3 barangay halls were demolished. During his early morning roving yesterday, Dumagoso also commended an obstruction-free Divisoria.
Buti naman. Wow! This is miracle.
Meanwhile, Mayor Dumagoso recommends to the DILG to file charges against a Manila City barangay chairman. The mayor did not disclose other details about the said official, but he says the barangay chairman is involved in corrupt activities.
Baka nanonood si Secretary Anyo. Sabi ng chairman, kasuhan nyo na lang ako. Kita nyo, saan ugali naman meron yan?
He adds a netizen reported the said official who has been firing words at him.
Gusto mo sumikat? Pasikatin kaya kita. Palibasa hindi mo ko binuto nung nakaraang halalan. Hanggang ngayon, di ka patapos sa halalan. Move on, Chairman.
The UNTV News and Rescue team is still confirming the identity of the said local village executive. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
And for the news abroad, 6 wild elephants have died on Saturday after falling into a waterfall in Thailand. Kath Dumaraos details why.
6 elephants have fallen to their deaths in Thailand while trying to save each other from a notorious waterfall. Officials said the incident occurred after a baby elephant slipped over the waterfall in central Thailand's Khao Yai National Park. 2 other elephants were also found struggling on a cliff edge nearby and have been moved by Thai authorities. The waterfall has been closed temporarily following the accident. The waterfall, known as Heo Narok, has a history of similar incidents. A herd of 8 elephants died after falling in 1992 in a case that brought national attention. There are around 300 wild elephants in the park, which covers more than 2,000 square kilometers of forest and grassland. It is home to various wild animals, including bears, elephants, and gibbons, and is a popular destination for tourists. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue, Thailand.
Ecuadorian authorities began arresting shopkeepers for raising food prices as indigenous groups clashed with security forces on Sunday in a 4th day of protests against President Lenin Moreno's austerity measures. Monhok Son details why.
1 man died in central Azuay province, Ecuador, when roadblocks blocked an ambulance from reaching him after he was hit by a car. Authorities said local media identified him as a protester. Ecuadorians complain consumer prices have risen sharply as a knock-on effect of Moreno's abolition of fuel subsidies, which has also triggered the nation's worst unrest in more than a decade. After a 2-day strike by transport unions, indigenous groups have taken the lead in demonstrations against Moreno's economic measures. They barricaded roads in various places again on Sunday with burning tires, branches and rocks. Some protesters threw stones at security forces who responded with tear gas. The government said 20 people were detained over the weekend for overcharging for products including corn, onions, carrots and potatoes, which are all subject to price controls. The 66-year-old Moreno won the 2017 election and has set the oil-producing nation on a century's track after years of socialist rule under predecessor Rafael Correa. Moreno has declared a 2-month state of emergency. Though he enjoys the support of businessmen and the military, Moreno's popularity has sunk to under 30% compared with 70% after his election, and Ecuador has a volatile history. Indigenous-led protests toppled 3 presidents in the decade before Correa took power in 2007. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue.
A 70-year-old cyclist becomes the oldest ever to conquer Bolivia's death road race. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
Bolivia's death road might seem an odd place for a septuagenarian grandmother on 2 wheels. The world's most dangerous road spirals skyward nearly 11,000 feet from the country's lowland jungles to the snow-capped peaks of the Andes. Fog, rain, rock slides, and sheer cliffs are the main attractions. But for 70-year-old Bolivian Mirta Muñoz, the oldest ever competitor in Bolivia's 60-kilometer Sky Race, an extreme bike racing competition, it was a natural extension of a passion she picked up years ago. Muñoz took up biking on the advice of her family and a psychologist friend after her son died unexpectedly. Saturday's race was a pinnacle achievement, no pun intended. Muñoz, one of the race's founders, says she enjoys more low-key bike riding with her 6 grandchildren, though admits she hopes the eldest, now approaching 18, will soon follow in her tracks. Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV News and Rescue.
A 17-year-old student in Cagayan de Oro City is considered by his teachers as a musical genius. Though he lacks training on the rudiments of music at this point, he dreams of becoming an orchestra conductor someday. Nina Armilio details why.
He was not able to prepare that day, but because opportunity called, he still went on to perform. Meet Paul Cyril Reyes, a grade 10 student of Mountain View College in Cagayan de Oro City. At a school competition in September called Tagisan ng Galing, Paul played the song A Million Dreams using a bamboo musical instrument called angklung. Is a traditional musical instrument that originated from Indonesia in the provinces of West Java and Banten. It is usually played by an ensemble. Paul's video, uploaded by Miss Claire Dulano, his coach and English teacher, now has over 500,000 views. Many were amazed with Paul's performance.
Yung performance na yun, it's quite impromptu po. Kasi wala po siyang practice at all. We were so fascinated, we were so captivated, not only by the instruments but also with Paul's performance, even though it was an impromptu performance.
Despite lack of practice, Paul was hailed the champion in the contest.
I just play it as me, na kung ano yung nafe-feel ko, yun ang ipo-project ko.
Paul's teachers say he cannot read notes, yet he displays excellence in playing musical instruments. Aside from angklung, he can also play piano, violin, guitar, saxophone, flute, recorder, handbells, melodeon, beatbox, trumpet, and cello.
he's really a unique kind of student. Paul is, makukonsider po namin siya na musically genius.
Gusto ko i-share ang knowledge ko tungkol sa music at gusto ko rin po pagturo sa kanila kung paano i-play ang angklung.
Paul has this advice to the youth who also want to excel in music.
Always practice, even though wala kay teacher. Believe in yourself. Kung naihatag sa mga part, always accept it bisa di pa ka-ready because muna siya ang mag-train sa imong self to do better next time.
Not only Paul, but also other students in various schools across the country have learned how to play angklung. Among them are the Angklung Ensemble of Nasugbu Christian Faith Academy in Batangas through the guidance of their musical director and arranger, Mr. Cesar Bentir Jr. The NCFA Angklung Ensemble can play not only classical pieces, but also hit songs like this band's Kahit Ayaw Mo Na. And Buwan. The likes of Paul and the young students who can play angklung are proof that we can be proud of the Filipino talent to the world. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.